welcome back to Saxthorpe Farms. And I was going to do the industrial BGA, but field 28 has another canola crop in it. It's 400 grand. We could afford to buy that, but if we buy it, we can't afford the BGA. So I'm going to do that, get that harvested, because that's going to be basically a bunch of free money. So we need to buy the field eventually anyway. We're getting it at a 25% discount because of the contracts we've been doing. So that to me seems really sensible. Crash into the tractor, because we can either borrow a bit of cash to do the BGA, or we can just wait until we've made a bit more cash and do that. The silage is not going to go anywhere, so that money is not going to vanish from selling the silage that we would make. So this seems more sensible, because let's say that crop is sat there. We can buy the field, harvest it, sell the crop, make money. It's going to be like 100 odd grand, which is again another quarter of the price of the field we're going to get back for no work. So it seems like a no-brainer to me, rather than rushing to build the BGA. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to use coarse plate to harvest this one, because last time we harvested a canola field as well. I'm going to experiment with the coarse plate combine unload feature. I've not used it in ages, so hopefully we can. I've got the Thorger wagon behind me. You'll have just seen that. That should be big enough, assuming the predicted yield off this field is right, of about 110,000 litres. It should be big enough to hold everything we can expect to get off of this field. So should just be able to leave this to do its thing while we go harvest the sunflowers. So again, easy job, basically easy money, and progresses us more towards owning all of the map, which is kind of the goal. So really looking forward to actually seeing how much money we make selling all of our crops come sale time. I really need to remember to add back in the sell price trigger mod. Obviously we've got time saving stock check, which tells us what the best price is we can expect to make for selling the crops. But I really like having the sell price trigger mod to remind me when to sell things, because I'm really bad at remembering, particularly when as I'm skipping through the year. So I need to remember to add that mod back in and set it up so that we do get the best price for our crops. Yeah, that's going to be really cool. And then next year, I think we now own 12 fields, this is getting to be one of the bigger farms I've owned, probably except Greenlands. Obviously with Greenlands we had the mega field on there, but Greenlands was set up with a huge debt, whereas with this we weren't. We started off with like standard start from scratch, I think. So yeah, it's kind of cool. We need to get ourselves a header for the sunflowers, and I'm going to combine the other cornfield. So we're going to do CCM off of that, probably to go into the cow feed. So I'm going to have a quick look at what corn/sunflower headers I've got installed and recommended. And then I think I end up jumping out to ModHub to install some modded ones, because I basically would like a folding one so we don't have to faff. Yeah, so quickly done that, and yeah, it basically makes my life easier with getting it around the map and storing it. So we've already got two big headers that we have to deal with dollied header trailers. So I actually think we could have run a bigger header than the 12-meter one, but 12 meters seems almost excessive for the combine that we've got. So I went with 12. Maybe in the future we will buy bigger. While we're here, in the milling video, I leased the mill, and obviously not supposed to be leasing stuff in this, so we're going to buy the mill now to make up for that. So doing that as well, that's going to be delivered to the store, so we'll pick that up later. We will need that for milling the corn that we're going to harvest next time. Oh, there's a lot going on, isn't there? There's a lot going on. So this video is probably a day later than planned. Life just kind of got ahead of me and didn't get stuff done on schedule. So some of that is sorted, some of that is what it is, and yeah, the video is later than planned. So life happens sometimes, and you can't change it. So as I always say, and I kind of feel like I'm apologising, and if that's how it comes across, maybe it is to some extent, because I know a bunch of you are only here for Farm Sim, and quite often Farm Sim is the other videos that suffer. That's because a lot of the time when I play Farm Sim, I'm thinking and planning, yet in the Timberborn videos quite often still happen, and that's because I can just turn my brain off when I play that game and I fall into it, and at the moment it's my meditative escape game. That used to be Farm Sim, and it's something that varies a lot actually, and I don't know if you guys have the same thing. Through 3 years that's been different games. It used to be the game that I've mentioned a lot in the past, Battle Pirates. To play that game, it's a game that really frustrates me at the moment, although that's going through a big update, so maybe I'll start enjoying that game a bit more. I'm kind of playing it at the moment to not fall behind, because it's a persistent 24/7 game, and if you stop playing you can fall behind. So I'm hoping that will not be the same. And then it was Stormworks for a long time. I used to love playing that game, you know, get stuck into building a thing, you know, like a big boat or a big plane, and doing all of the logic and all that kind of thing. And then it was, oh god, some zoo game, and I can't remember the name of it. I'm just going to load up Steam, because that'll tell me. So it's in my Steam library. It's starting to rain. We'll come back to the fact that it's starting to rain. Planet Zoo. Played that for a while, not for too long actually. Yeah, so it's starting to rain, so we're going to have to stop. I'm going to unload both the combines, get the Thorger wagon, and I've got one of the tractors with a trailer. I'm going to get those in one of the sheds so that the crop doesn't get wet. I know, bit of roleplay there. And we'll wait for the rain to stop. While it was raining, I fed the beef cattle because they were short on feed. But yeah, so it was Planet Zoo for a while. Then it was Farm Sim. Farm Sim used to... I used to be able to lose hours and hours in Farm Sim. That was before I really got into the analysis of the game and the planning and the thinking and the making videos. And currently it's Timberborn. So that's because sometimes I get frustrated with things around Farm Sim. Not necessarily playing Farm Sim, but sometimes things around Farm Sim will frustrate me, and I just won't want to play the game for a bit. So yeah, that's why I wasn't playing Farm Sim while I was away. Made one video while I was away, but then yeah, just took a break from it for a few days, and we're back at it now, and back enjoying it, which is cool. So yeah, but at the moment it amazes me actually, and how I can be playing Timberborn, which is a style of game that I've never really got that into before, and literally hours and hours will pass and I will lose track of time completely. Yeah, so again, if it sounds like a bit of an apology, it kind of is in a way, because I know a lot of you are Farm Sim fans and not Timberborn fans, and I sometimes feel bad that I'll make a Timberborn video over a Farm Sim video sometimes, because I find them easier to make depending on how my head is. But you know, I'm just kind of being honest with you. Yeah. Anywho, we're making really good progress on Saxthorpe. I was having a quick look at the productions as well while it was raining. The solar panel that I put in, maybe not delivering quite enough electric charge for the water pump. So I think the water pump is providing enough water for the productions, but it's kind of sat dormant sometimes, and maybe that's not a problem. But I'm just going to keep an eye on it, make sure that the productions are getting enough water. We're certainly not getting any excess of either, but that's fine. we don't need an excess of either. I really just want it to be providing those productions with the input that they need. Long term, I'm still thinking about doubling up on the modular greenhouses. So we'll demolish the building that we put in the other half of the modular greenhouse, probably put a smaller shed there, because we don't really need that big building there. I just need something to keep some of the vehicles, and you can see the mud system coming into effect there, making it difficult for us to drive in the field because it's muddy, like in real life, but not impossibly so, which is kind of how I like it. I do like the mud system. It just makes me think when it's raining. So I had a fall out with Farm Sim for a few days, but we're back at it and back enjoying it. Otherwise, I wouldn't have made the video, to be honest. With how my brain is, I am very, very on-off with things. If I'm not enjoying them, I find I cannot force myself anymore to create content around them. So yeah. It's one of the drawbacks of how my brain is. I can't fake this stuff. It's why I can't do roleplay. It's why I can't do certain other types of content. You get the raw version of me quite a lot. It's why quite often I'm quite grumpy. It's why quite often when I chat to some of you, I'm quite blunt with my responses. That's why when I answer comments, quite often you might get a 1-word or 2-word answer, or what seems like quite a short, grumpy answer. It's not that I'm grumpy, it's just that's how I respond to people, particularly in text form. So, again, not really an apology, more of an explanation. At some point, I'll explain some of this more, and it might become more clear to some of you. If it's going to become more clear to some of you might know. Some of you do know, because I talk about this a bit more on the Patreon videos, which there hasn't been one of this week because I haven't been playing Farm Sim much this week. But yeah. So if you're really curious, you could subscribe to Patreon and you'd find out. But anyway, if you're really that curious, you might have worked out what it is. And I'm not being intensely, can't think of the right word. I'm not obscuring it because I'm trying to be difficult. It's still hard to talk about. So yeah. Courseplay self-unload. As I hadn't used this in ages, and then when I spotted that the combine was about to do its first self-unload, I was really curious to see how it was going to work, and so I wanted to watch it. And I thought you guys might want to watch it as well. And when it started doing this, I thought it was going to screw up. I was particularly curious with using the Thorger wagon how it would work, but actually I was surprised. It did way better than I expected. So this was the first unload. There is some canola in the trailer because I manually unloaded before the rain started, but there we go. It's got itself sorted, and this is probably the hardest one because it's only done 2 headlands, 1 and a bit headlands, 2 and a bit headlands. So I set the course up. I didn't really talk about when I was saying course up. I set the course up to do 4 headlands to give it loads of room for that reason. And actually it then just carried on and did the whole field on its own, completely fine. I think particularly with something like the Thorger wagon, combine self-unload with courseplay is a great way of getting stuff done. If you just want to leave a worker to clear a field, much more reliable than using auto drive. It does take a little bit longer because the combine has to go to the trailer rather than the trailer coming to the combine, but actually probably on average with the time that you lose as auto drive faffs probably comes out in the wash, to be honest. Particularly I suspect if you're using 2 combines, because auto drive can faff a little bit. I guess if you've got a huge field, maybe not, but you could use what I'm doing here. So what I've got going on here, and maybe the Thorger wagon wouldn't work quite so well here because I'm not sure how well it handles auto drive unload. You might have to do some special setup with some special waypoints that are offset so that the belt is in the right place to unload, then it might work. I've not experimented with it, but if not using that, using, you know, normal bigger trailers and using what I'm doing is, so what I've got here is I've got auto drive set up to do pick up and deliver. So it's just parked at the bottom of the field and I go and tip into it. And that would work probably brilliantly, actually. I suspect you could have a couple of tractors and trailers, or lorries and trailers, on running pick up and deliver on auto drive, and then the combine's doing self unload. Might be the most efficient way of doing that if you wanted to just leave it to work on its own. That might be more efficient. It's been an interesting test, actually. That would be an interesting test. That might be more efficient than using auto drive to unload the combines on the go. Well, that feels like something that I could maybe do a little test of. But you know how people are. You could say it's the most efficient way of automating something, and somehow, actually, I think you'll find that if you did this would be more efficient than what you did, so you're wrong. Yeah, so I don't know. Like I say, at the moment, I'm really not up to producing content that creates criticism or problems. That's why I haven't been doing sort of complicated tutorials and stuff a lot of the time lately, because I can't deal with the support that they bring. So we're just going to square off the field, because I'm 96% full, and I need to then run to the completely the other length of the field where the tractor and trailer are waiting. So I thought I'd just nibble the edge off of this, and then we'll run down to the bottom of the field and unload, which I did, and I quite like, because we were doing fields next to each other, I could see the other combine working. And so can you see the other combine working? But we've got this little part row and then one really long row to go, and the sunflowers are done. The new canola field is almost done. Yeah, really productive day in terms of getting stuff done. We've got just the cornfield to go. In terms of field on the map, there is a root crop field with crop in it still. I'm just going to let that go. Because we then need to focus on, I think we've probably, a grass field needs fertilizing, and I still need to sort out my crop rotation and get crops in the ground. We're going to need to plough the cornfield. That's the only field that needs ploughing. But I am quite tempted to put the mulcher plougher over some of the fields if we've got time, just to maximize yield. And obviously, some people say you shouldn't do this, and I know, no-till and all that. If we put the mulcher plougher over these fields, we won't get weeds. We'll get the mulching bonus. We won't get weeds, so we won't have to spray, so we won't get the impact of yield bonus. Yes, with precision farming, you still get an impact for spraying weeds with spot spray. It's the same impact as if you just spray weeds without spot spray or see and spray. But if you plough and then direct drill, you don't get the penalty for ploughing. So we might do a bit more ploughing across the farm, so we get the mulching bonus, because I'll plough mulches at the same time. Depends how we can get around the farm with all the planting we need to do, because the plough's not very big and we've got a lot of ground to cover. So, and I don't know I can't remember what planter we've got. We have got a big cultivator, so yeah. Just thinking that any fields that we are going to, just don't want to be spraying weeds, basically. Hate spraying weeds. I'd rather plough than spray weeds. So maybe we get a few more mulcher ploughs and just run like loads of them across the farm. Or accept the yield impact of spraying weeds. Anyhow, combine full, so let's go unload. You can actually see how I've got auto drive running. Basically, I had a wait point set in the field, so once I cleared a bit of the headland, the tractor would get into the field just fine and sit and wait at the bottom of the field. This is, you could use this with the Courseplay combine self-unload. It would work really well, I think. And I had auto drive set to go at about 70%, so a full combine would then send the trailer off, and with the way the yield of sunflowers worked, basically the tractor would be back before I was full. So I was never really the only time I was waiting for the tractor is this last bit at the end of the field, which is kind of, you might expect that. So it worked pretty well. I only had the one tractor carting, so yeah, it worked really well. And I think this might be more efficient than having auto drive actually coming into the field doing carting versus with Courseplay. Yeah, so we've got this little bit of sunflowers left to go. Courseplay's got 5 minutes on the canola field, so everything is actually finishing just about right. We've just got the field next door to us to harvest the corn, which we'll do next time, and mill for CCM. We've got a spare bunker up at the cow farm, so we'll do the milling up there and put that straight in the bunker, and ferment that so that we can either feed it to the cows or sell it to CCM. I think we'll feed it to the cows probably. Improve the quality of our TMR. It makes no difference to how the cows actually are fed, but from my kind of, in my brain, I like to do more than just feed. At the moment, I'm mostly just feeding a mix of grass silage and maize silage. So, all right, so we will have to wait now for the tractor to come back. Here it comes. So, through the magic of editing, it was almost instantaneous. Yeah, so obviously not much left in the combine from that little bit that we had to empty. But this header worked well. The 12 metre header was plenty big enough to do this job. Probably need to bring the truck over to put some fuel in. So I'll just send this back to the farm. The Fent is pretty much finishing up, and what I wasn't aware of is, so the field is empty. Combine self-unload, when it finished the course, it came and unloaded itself. So even better in my mind. And I think we ended up getting about 116,000 litres of canola off this field. So that's something like 130, 40, over 140,000 pounds, about 150,000 pounds. So yeah, really nice return for no effort essentially. I did end up buying the crop scan partway through, which is why the money went down a little bit as well. And then we also got, I hadn't reset precision farming, so ignore that number. We check time saving stock check. Go check time saving stock check. We got about 118,000 litres of sunflowers. So pretty good. Anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. See you next time. Bye.